I've been coming back and forth from this house for a few times already, and I can definitely say now that most of my stuff that I need day to day is already I already moved them to my new house, which is my sister's house. And the only things left here are really just things that I don't really use. Maybe some things I use once a year or things I use for travel, but they're not important stuff. So what's left of this house is just things that I'm gonna need to clean up, and maybe the big stuff like this wardrobe. Maybe I'll need to move that eventually. Maybe I probably need to clean up the house, all the dust, and then even the walls need a bit of repainting. Still some work, but stuffs that I need is already taken care of. So this house is just a house right now. It's just an apartment. It used to be my home. I bought it in 2017. It was finished in 2019. And then COVID came. Started living here. This was the house that I lived with my ex-wife for over 3 years. Like, I feel like the whole of our relationship happened in this house. This small 450 square feet studio house. It's small. We had a lot of memories here. And now all that memory is cleaned up. And I'm kinda distraught. I'm still kinda sad about it. Remembering all the times we had together in this house. This house, like, for me, it's really like the place that we spent our relationship. And it's gone now. Like, the house is still here, but memories is gone. The sheets are changed. I took them out. I'm gonna change it eventually. I'm gonna try to either rent it out or make it a B&B or something for this house. Don't know if that's gonna be gonna have enough return on my mortgage, but it is what it is. Eventually, maybe I'm gonna have to sell this house just so that I don't need to pay the mortgage every month. And like, memories gone just like that. And I'm still like, of course, like, the the aim is to move on from the relationship, but I don't think I'm done grieving yet. Because I'm not good with memories, so it's hard for me to remember the memories, to feel them and let them go, because I can't remember them. The memories, it will come when I least expect it. So to actively let go of each memory, it's not something that I can voluntarily act on, you know. And I don't know, I feel like I've at least partially moved on, or at least starting to move on. And the thought of her does not affect me as much as it did earlier after the divorce. But I still think about the memories fondly. And it's kinda disheartening to remember the good times. It's almost like having to deal with someone dying, because the person that I know of her is dead. Some people say that version of them never existed, because that's just who they want you to think they are. And I've always been fully myself, for better or for worse, during the relationship. But I never tried to present myself as something more than I am. And what really hurts me is that she really made me feel like she loved me for who I am. And then one day she just decided, okay, I'm done with this. And they just leave you. Sometimes they don't even explain to you properly. That's how much it hurts to be discarded by an avoidant person. Like one day they make you feel like you mean so much to them, and the next day is just like, okay, you're nothing to me. And I don't think people understand. When she first asked for the divorce, there was no argument. We didn't have any talk about like if this marriage isn't working or whatnot. On that day in October, she just like, I want a divorce. And I was really taken by surprise. I tried to stay calm, but how do you stay calm when someone is really throwing you away like trash? And if I had if I had followed her wish to finalize the divorce in December, I think I would have been more distraught. At least when I said I wanted to, if we get a divorce, I want to wait until April. At least I had the time to process it and like getting some sort of a closure from myself, really. And the hideous thing is that we had talks like many times before the divorce happened for real. And this was around January, February, March, and I thought, okay, we had a talk and we agreed on some things, and it's sort of feel like closure. And then she would come around and either try to string me along or suddenly like almost devalue me, make me feel like I don't mean anything. So all the closure that we talked about is just it loses meaning, because the things that she said during the closure doesn't give her or me any peace. And like towards the end, I even wanted to separate peacefully, but then I found out about the cheating, realized how badly she treated me, and it's like all those closure talk that we had really meant nothing for her. The only thing that I could say is that she's a coward. She has no bravery to like come forth as herself, like let people know how she actually feels. She can't do that because she's scared how other people will react to her real emotions. And like she didn't even meet my parents once throughout the divorce, not even once. Never called them, never talked to them, never nothing. She didn't even talk to my sister-in-law, which she was close to. So imagine that. Coward is really the only word that could describe her behavior. And now, with her gone, I'm lost. Like before, whenever I was feeling down, just the thought of her or just being with her would give me strength to move on or reason to push forward. And now I know it's not a healthy thing to do because people leave you. But now that I don't have anything else except my cats, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. Because I've always revolved my purpose around someone else's needs. It's always trying to sacrifice myself for someone else. I used to know what I wanted, but not anymore. And I really am lost. I don't know what I really want. I know what other people want out of me, and that's easy. But when we revolve ourselves around someone else's needs, it's always gonna feel like something's missing, even though that's the only thing that I know how to do since childhood. Ever since I was alive, all I knew is fulfilling someone else's needs. I always felt this some sort of void or emptiness inside of me, and that's probably my needs were not being met. But I always ignored it. Because I don't feel I'm important enough to have my needs met. Now that I don't have anything else to live for, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have my hobbies, I have my job, but those things don't make you want to stay alive. They just help you live another day. And I think that's why a lot of us are so depressed, because we don't know what we need. But society tells us we need to be a certain way, we need to want certain things, we need to earn enough, have enough. And all of us are kinda detached from our true self. And that's why we are all so miserable. I'm miserable right now. I'm so lost. And the shitty thing is, only I can answer the question of what I need. Because if I ask someone else, that's their need. They can't answer it for me because they don't know me. No one knows who we are, 400%. Maybe they know parts of us, and that's cool. They can give guidance or opinion or help, but they'll never know the answer, just like you don't know the answer for someone else's true self, you know. And society these days, we all don't know ourselves, or maybe society has always been like this. We all just living triggers. We're just living on like we're just NPCs. We're just slave to our subconscious. We all just follow our feral instincts, if you will. And just living through life. So that's why we're all so miserable. And it's hard to figure out who you are when your whole life you have been made to listen to everyone else except yourself. But at the end of the day, you still gotta do it. Because ain't nobody doing it for you. Or rather, you don't have a choice. No one else can do it for you. I wish I know what I want, because that would make it so easy. Because I used to know what I want back when I was in high school, at least. I was a weird kid. I've always been drawing anime and shit, manga. But that was who I really was. People think I was uncool. Fair enough for them. I mean, they weren't wrong. But I never cared, you know? I never cared that I was the uncool kid. I was like in my own lane, happy. I was aligned with myself. Like I knew people was like, people didn't think highly of me, but I thought highly of myself, you know, because I knew myself back then. And then after I graduated, I didn't follow my dreams because my mother wanted me to study something practical, which was engineering. Or I mean, if it was up to her, she wanted me to be a doctor, but I got B for biology, so that shit ain't happening. But yeah, after that, I lost myself. I disaligned. I split. And ever since that, I've been trying to re-merge or realign myself to who I am, but I never got back to that point. I guess I spent my whole life, or rather my early adult life, dreading the fact that I was so weird and I wanted to be normal. But now I think I got to that point where I'm kind of normal, or rather like I'm a normally functioning neurotypical person in society, or at least it seems that way from the outside. And I really hate it here. I liked my best myself more when I was like the weird kid, ironically. Like I spent my whole childhood wanting to be like everyone else. Now I'm like everyone else and I hate myself. And like, how funny is that? So I feel like, this divorce really just amplifies my personal personal issues, or my personal struggles, I guess, rather than relationship itself. Because I feel like now that I've been through marriage and been through a divorce, I'm kind of like quite confident that I can thrive in another relationship if I wanted to, but I realize that I'm not thriving in myself, and I should really find myself first before I try to find myself with someone else. Else I would repeat the same thing that happened in this divorce, and I would have wasted more time and someone else's time too. So I'm gonna try to find myself first before I find someone else, and that may take a few years, I'm not gonna lie, and it's not gonna be easy, because what you want out of yourself isn't always gonna be what is socially acceptable, or rather, like, people won't always appreciate you for it. Some people are gonna think you're a loser. Some people are gonna think you're wasting your time, or you're going nowhere. And you have all this like third-party input that you don't need. I'm just trying to be happy, but I don't know what that even means anymore. I don't know what that means without trying to without other people involvement. I don't know what happiness means within myself. I can try to find small wins, small happiness with my hobbies and whatnot, but I don't know what happiness means for me as a whole.